Hi, welcome back. I've noticed a lot of IELTS students falling into the trap of using the same tired idioms like once in a blue moon, then cup of tea. You know, idioms are great, and in fact, in your IELTS speaking band descriptors under lexical resource assessment criterion, it is mentioned clearly that use of idiomatic language can boost your band score. But what is more important is that you have to use idiomatic language in a very accurate and natural way, just like how native speakers do. That is, when you use idioms, it should not be felt like just for the purpose of using an idiom, you are using it and it does not gel well with the context. That would be a problem. If it stands out, then you're not going to get the desired score that you might think that you will be getting by using an idiom. An idiom cannot be used randomly. It should gel well with the context, and moreover it should sound very natural and accurate. Okay, so in this video I'm going to introduce a few idioms which can specifically be used with feelings and emotions, because when it comes to IELTS speaking, there would be situations wherein you will have to express your feelings or emotions. So what kind of idioms can be used in such situations would be introduced. I will be just covering a few of the idioms in this video, and we'll have another video to complete it. Okay, so let's get started. Now first, happy. Now when you're being happy, what kind of idioms, or I'll be showing a few idioms that can be used when you have to express or when you need to express happiness while doing your or while answering to your questions in IELTS speaking test. One such idiom is walking on air. It just means feeling extremely happy. Now when you have to mention something where you have to make the examiner feel that you were extremely happy about something, you can use this idiom that I was walking on air. Okay, now if you say that, and one more thing, I already mentioned that when you use the idiom, it should sound natural. It shouldn't sound robotic. You shouldn't sound like a textbook, but it should sound authentic. Now for that, like if an examiner asks a question like, can you describe a situation when you were really happy? And you say that, like, when my 10th standard results were out, I was walking on air. Now that doesn't sound natural. You sound very robotic. You have to use the idiom, but the stress you give to it and the way, the intonation also matters. That also you have to take into account while using idioms. Then you wouldn't sound robotic. Okay. Now I shall show a few examples wherein this idiom can be used accurately. Suppose a question is like this. Do you enjoy celebrating festivals? It's a kind of question that can appear in your part 1 of IELTS speaking. Do you enjoy celebrating festivals? Now look at the sample answer here. Absolutely. Last Diwali, I was walking on air when I saw my whole family together after years. So it has been used to express that extreme happiness when you met your family all together after so many years. So in situations wherein you really feel that you were extremely happy and you have to use something different to express that sort of happiness, then you can go for this idiom, walking on air. I was walking on air when I saw my entire family all together after so many years. Okay, that is one example. Let's look at another question. How do athletes feel after winning a big game? Now this will not be a question which would appear in part 1 of IELTS speaking. In part 3, a general question. Now here also, how do athletes feel after winning a big game? So after winning a big game, it can be something that can bring in extreme happiness to the athletes, right? So in this situation, again, you can make use of the idiom walking on air. So how it can be used? Athletes, or they usually feel like they are walking on air, full of energy and pride from all the hard work paying off. See how you can use the idiom there. So make sure that just to say that you're happy, please don't use this idiom. I was walking on air. In situations wherein when you genuinely feel that you have to express extreme happiness, go for the usage of this idiom. Okay. Now I shall introduce another idiom, again to express the same emotion or feeling, happiness. It goes like this: grinning from ear to ear. Grinning from ear to ear. Now this means to look extremely happy. Have you noticed the difference between these two idioms? Both of these are used to it is related to happiness. It is related to the emotion of feeling happy. But the first one, it's basically used when you are feeling extremely happy. This is used to show that you look extremely happy. look extremely happy. That is when you use grinning from ear to ear. I shall show a couple of examples so that you understand the usage better. First question, what kind of moments do you like to capture in photos? What kind of moments do you like to capture in photos? It's a personal question from part 1. Now look at the answer. I usually take photos when something truly special happens, like reuniting with old friends or achieving something big. Usually I always catch me grinning from ear to ear in these shots, and that kind of happiness is what I love to remember. See, it's not the feeling. So because of that happiness, you are seen to smile, and that is what has been included or used in this answer. That is like, when do you like your photos to be captured? So when you achieve something really big, when you're really happy about something really special, so in such moments I will be seen grinning from ear to ear, and I like such moments to be captured when your happiness is visible. Okay. Now, how do people usually react when they receive good news? A part 3 question. How can we use this idiom, say grinning from ear to ear, in this question? Answer to this question. Most people can't hide their joy. You'll often see them grinning from ear to ear, even if they don't say much. It's a clear sign they are truly happy. Okay. So again, in a general question, how it can be used is being demonstrated. It was shown here. So despite the fact that both of these idioms, walking on air and grinning from ear to ear, are related to the emotion happiness, they cannot be used interchangeably. There is a minor or a hairline difference, I would say. First one is used when you are extremely happy, and second one can be used if that happiness is evident, when you have to show the evidence of that happiness. Okay. Now we shall move on to the next emotion or feeling and the kind of idioms that can be used with that. Sad, when you're sad or depressed about something. First, down in the dumps, meaning feeling low, unhappy or depressed. Okay, down in the dumps. Now let's see a couple of examples. First question, do you enjoy spending time alone? Do you enjoy spending time alone? A part 1 question. Now look at the response. Not always. If I'm down in the dumps, I prefer to be around people. It cheers me up. So you're trying to say that, like, I don't always like to spend time alone if I'm depressed. So instead of depressed, this idiom has been used, down in the dumps. So if I'm down in the dumps, then I prefer to be around people, so that cheers me up. Okay. So this is used in place where you have to show that you were depressed, or you are depressed or unhappy or feeling low. Now, a general question from part 3. Do people in your country talk openly about their feelings? Do people in your country talk openly about their feelings? Look at the response. It's becoming more common, especially when someone's down the dumps. Friends and family now encourage open conversations. That is, again, this idiom has been used beautifully in the response. That is, the question was that, do people in your country openly share or express their feelings? And we are trying to say that now it's becoming more common that when people, when somebody is down in the dumps, they try to be more open. They express their feelings with their family or friends. So again, to show depressed state of feeling of low, you can use this idiom, down in the dumps. Now let's look one more idiom which can be used with the same feeling or emotion, a heavy heart. Now, when is this used? Again, associated with the same kind of emotion, a feeling of sadness or sorrow, especially while doing something difficult. See, there is a difference. The first one, when you're generally feeling low. Now, heavy heart, do we say when you're feeling really sad, and when you have this feeling of sadness or sorrow and you're forced to do something, you're doing something despite being sad or sorrow, then we say you do it with a heavy heart. Okay, I shall show a couple of usages. Have you ever had to say goodbye to someone? A part 1 question, a probable part 1 question. Let's look at the response. Yes, I left my hometown with a heavy heart. You had to leave the hometown with a lot of sorrow. So instead of using the word I left the hometown really sad, I can say that I left my hometown with a heavy heart. When I moved to college, it was a mix of excitement and deep sadness. So this idiom has been used here. Now another, how can we apply it to a general or an abstract question from part 3 of speaking? Do you think people hide their sadness in public? How is the response? Often they do, even when they cry, even when they carry a heavy heart, they might pretend everything is fine in social situations. That is, again, in a part 3 question, you are trying to say that there might be situations wherein people might be really sad, but still they have to pretend in front of others and make them feel and make it feel that everything seems to be normal. So in such situation, you can say that even when they carry a heavy heart, even when people carry a heavy heart, meaning to say that even when people are really sad, they might pretend everything is fine in social situations. Okay, I hope the usages are clear. Now we shall look at one more type or one more feeling, angry, and what kind of idioms can be used when you have to express this anger or frustration. Now the first usage is hot under the collar. An idiom, hot under the collar. It just means that being angry or annoyed or uncomfortable, being uncomfortable due to anger. The usage or the idiomatic expression is hot under the collar. How can it be used? The first question, have you ever had a disagreement at work or school? Have you ever had a disagreement at work or school? So it's a personal question from part 1. Now let's look at the response for this question. Yes, when my group ignored my ideas, I was really hot under the collar, though I stayed polite. So you are expressing, you're trying to say that you were really angry about something or you were uncomfortable about something. That is, the question is, have you ever had a disagreement at work or school? So when you were doing some group work and when your group ignored your ideas, then you were really hot under the collar, though you stayed polite. Staying hot under the collar means you are really angry, hot under the collar. Now another question, is it common for people to argue in your culture? A broad question from part 3. Is it common for people to argue in your culture? The answer goes like this. Yes, but people try to stay respectful even when they are hot under the collar. It depends on the situation. So here the first question was, have you ever had disagreement at school or work? So you use this idiom, hot under the collar, to express your discomfort because of anger. Now this question is that, do generally people argue in your culture? Do people generally argue or fight in your culture? So in this situation also you can actually rope in this idiom, hot under the collar. How it can be used? People try to stay respectful even when they are hot under the collar. Like in most of the situations, people try to stay calm even when they are hot under the collar. Despite being very angry, they try to maintain their calm, but depending on the situation, they react. Okay. Now let's look at one more idiom which can again be used in the same situation or which is associated with the same feeling. Hit the roof, to become extremely angry suddenly. It means that it is used to show extreme sudden anger. You use this idiom, hit the roof. Let's look at a few examples. First, do you often get angry? If a part 1 question is, do you often get angry? How can you use this idiom? Not usually, but when my plans get cancelled last minute, I sometimes hit the roof. It's frustrating. See, hit the roof. You can directly use it by saying that I generally don't get angry, but sometimes when there are last minute cancellation of plans, I hit the roof because it's so frustrating. Okay. Now one more question. What makes people angry in modern society? Again associated with anger. Now how can this idiom be used? Delays, lack of respect or injustice can make anyone hit the roof. People expect fairness. So again, in the question itself, that word anger has been mentioned. So you can associate this idiom in the response. How it can be said? It is said that, like, if the question is what kind of situations or what make people angry in modern society. So the answer goes like this: delays, lack of respect or injustice can make anyone hit the roof, and people expect fairness. So these are the kind of usages that can be used with emotions like happiness, sadness and anger. Okay. Okay, I hope you found this helpful. Now we shall be back with a continuation of the same, the idiomatic phrases that can be used with other emotions and feelings. So keep practicing. Now let me stress it once again that it's not about just simply adding on an idiom while you're speaking. You have to use it very naturally and accurately. For that, make sure that when you do your daily speaking practice, try including these idioms when you have to express the kind of emotions or feelings that we have discussed in this video, when you have to express happiness or sadness or anger, try to include this idiom in a natural way. So when you do this repeatedly over time, on the test day, it comes to you naturally and the examiner feels that you have used it accurately and naturally, and definitely that's going to improve your band score under the assessment criterion lexical resource. Okay, so wishing you all a happy learning. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.
Medcity International Academy. Trusted hands forever.